The Vulture's introduction story is honestly a dime a dozen in the grand scheme of things. However, the backup story that comes along with it, you're not gonna believe this. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 2. The Vulture comic starts off pretty brazen, actually. Dude just flies in the middle of daylight and steals a briefcase from a guy. And he's in and out just like that. No one can actually figure out how he does it. How does he do it? We'll get into that. Anyway, so Jameson, J. Jonah Jameson, who at this time is running his own magazine company, is running pictures, is wanting pictures for images of the Vulture, because apparently this guy is able to get in and out without literally anyone seeing it. So he runs an ad in his magazine for photographers to get a picture, obviously. Well, this comes across Peter in science class. This comes across Peter in science class. Word gets to Peter. And this gives Peter an idea. Maybe with his spider powers, maybe he'd be able to do it. And it would also help him and his aunt, because Jameson also, of course, offers big money. So this is how Pete gets into his photography. Let's see. So Aunt May gives Pete a camera, one of his Uncle Bing's old cameras he had stored in the back of his drawer. 60s quality, don't you love it? A tiny camera in the back of a drawer can work for a newspaper, or even a magazine at this point. So let's see. So, Pete gets all dressed up, swings out, goes searching, comes across him. So Pete gets ready gets the shot off. Takes forever, because of course first time photographers take forever to get a good shot going. But this of course takes too long, and the Vulture notices someone. Well, actually what happens is Pete kicks something off the edge of a roof, and the Vulture hears it. Turns around, and sees Pete just standing there. And one of the most simple things for the 60s, which you just gotta love, the Vulture just pops around, does a loop-de-loop, and comes up from behind, making Pete completely lose track of him. Vulture knocks Pete out and dumps him in a big water, dumps him in a water tower, and then just pisses off. And this is so Pete manages to get out of the tower. He can't climb up, so he literally just leaps out of the tower and into a it just goes back home to playing. This leads to upgrades for his new suit. More cartridges for his for his webbing on a belt, an extra cartridge in his web shooter just for backup, and he even comes up with a device to stop the Vulture's wingsuit, because he somehow figured it out. A high school student figured it out. Oh boy, you're not going to believe this. Anyway, so Pete manages to take pictures. All this time, Pete has actually managed to take pictures of the Vulture. So he sends it to Jameson, and Jameson actually asked how he got the picture, and Pete just says, "No lips. Zip it. My trade secret, your trade secret," all that jazz. So that satisfies Jameson, and meanwhile, let's see. Oh, I actually skipped a step. Before the Vulture trapped by Pig, the Vulture actually flew around to all the various spots and announcing his next scheme, because this guy is so brazen and full of himself. He literally challenging the authorities to catch him. So, and that's actually how Jameson, or I forget. Right, there's a diamond shipment going on, and the Vultures just literally throw stones to the police department, the banks department, and Jameson's magazine department, saying, "You fools, I'm so good, I will just steal it in broad daylight and no one can stop me." And this basically sucks things up. So everyone's aware of what the Vulture's about to do. And it's such a big glam fest that even high school kids are going to go watch. Pete says, "Might as well. I better go just in case to stop him and see what happens." And so everyone's there. Big crowd lines up. It's basically a big circus. And time comes. No one does it. No one's there. Absolutely no one. Or nothing happens. There's a chopper in the sky. Snipers everywhere. But no sign of the Vulture. People are beginning to think maybe he's just chomping, bluffing. Then they walk across. So the diamond shipment is all loaded up. It's middle of transfer. Then they walk across the manhole cover, and out pops the Vulture. Dude, and just in and out. As soon as he's there, he's gone, and he gets away with it because everyone was looking up in the sky. They never thought he might actually go underground, and then the Vulture flies through the sewer system, into the subway system, and out the subway, and then high above the clouds, or the sky. That's how he gets away. Before anyone ever had the chance to come across him. So immediately, he goes for broke and chases after him. And he catches up to them eventually, and it's the battle for the ages. Well, actually, Pig sneakily searches for him. He notices him, runs after him, and hoping to get the drop on him. But at that moment, Vulture looks back and sees him. And then, so Vulture flies around, does the loop-de-loop thing again, because that literally worked last time. Why wouldn't it work this time? But this time, Peter, remember, he has a spider sense and dodges at the last second. However, it's just enough. He's not fast enough, and the Vulture manages to knock him off a building. Well, peeping Spider-Man, he just webs the Vulture, and he just webs the Vulture, and they both go tumbling down. Pete then presses a button on the device, on a device he has strapped to his belt, and that causes the Vulture to go into a tailspin. How does that happen? Because the Vulture's bodysuit, the wingsuit, uses magnets to fly. Because apparently that's how that works. It's the 60s, and Stan Lee did not know what he was talking about at all. He thought something sounded good, and then just pop. That's how it works. So, Vulture takes a tumble. Pete can just swing off, swoop around back, and wait for the cops to come. Cops come picking him up. Pete gets some pictures, and then Jameson gets the pics. Pete gets the pictures, Jameson gets the pictures, Pete gets the money, and Aunt May gets her rent paid off for a full year. That's literally what happens. And then the Vulture is nice and yell, and the day is saved. And the Vulture vows to get revenge on Pete. And that is the Vulture. Now, strap in, because this is going to be a weird one. So, and I assure you, this is what happens. Pete, we open up with Pete in science class, working on an experiment, because this is how most stories happen. Before Spider-Man, before writers always had Pete swinging around the city to open the stories, Stan always had Pete in science class. Anyway, so Pete's professor comes up, asks him if he wants to help a acclaimed scientist professor with an experiment. The professor, Pete of course jumps at the opportunity, and the professor agrees to take Pete on. However, the professor gives Pete an errand before he arrives there for Pete to pick up a radio for him. So, the next day, Pete goes on, picks up a radio for the guy, and the guy he picks up his the radio from is this crotchety old looking man. Yeah, and says, "Hey, I got this radio. I'm here to pick up a radio for such and such." And the guy goes, "Oh, right, of course. Let me go get it." The guy then goes down into his basement, and aliens. Not just any aliens. Big green suit. Men in green rubber suit aliens from the 60s. Straight out of a cheesy B-movie from the 50s. These aliens are actually putting a secret radio secret alien spy tech and these special radios, so and sending them off into the government. They're giving them to special government officials so they can spy on military tech so they can invade the Earth. Aliens, radios, Spider-Man. This is not a modern day Spider-Man at all. So, Pete, the old man gives the radio back to Pete, and immediately his spider sense goes off. But Pete thinks nothing of it because it's just an old man. He thinks he's just being too cautious and just forgets about it, goes on his way. So he goes to the. So he takes the radio to the professor, and they get on with their work. Not before the professor remarks, "Oh, the old man only charges Pete a dime for it," which back in the 60s, a dime was incredible. It was practically giving it away, even for the 60s. You don't pay a dime just to pick up a radio, even back in the 60s. So, and Pete remarks about this to the professor, and the professor goes, "Yeah, that's why I did it. But let's get back to work." But Pete can't get over it, and then he notices the spider sense going off, and it's the same way it went off back in the lab or at the physics shop. But he's not in the physics shop; he's in the lab. It's got to be from that radio. So as soon as the professor leaves to. The professor, who leaves a high school student in the lab alone, a high school student, I know he's volunteered, but he leaves him alone in the lab, honestly. But whatever. As soon as the guy leaves to give a lecture, he goes on and opens up the remote and opens up the radio and sees all the tech, and immediately suits up and goes to the lab or the physics shop. Physics shop's closed for the day. Pete sneaks down to the. He sneaks down to the basement and, of course, sees the aliens. The aliens invaders. Spider-Man and alien invaders. I'm not getting over this. So, Pete's about to jump him, but his spider sense goes off, and immediately, and that tells him someone came up from behind him before he could go from behind them. They fight. Aliens outnumber him. Throw him in this big glass container, and they were going to dispose of him by literally suffocating him and throwing all the air out of the container and killing him. So they do this before at this time Pete also learned of their plans. Anyways, so just as they let the air out, Pete notices there are small air holes on the perimeter base of the container he's in. And he literally angles his webbing just so to shoot out the container air hole and hit the button releasing him, which I give it credit for the 60 for something like that. I'll give it credit that is creative. So Pig lets go and immediately hits a guy who knocks back into another alien who fires on the control panel, destroying everything, setting the place on fire. The aliens run like hell. The old man who is begs them not to leave. Pig actually lets the aliens go because, in his own words, the aliens were probably just working for their planet, but the old man is a traitor and he beats the crap out of the old man. But the smoke and fire gets too much and he has to get out of there. And the old man, he tries to take the old man with him, but the old man just gets away from him. And so Pig has no choice, he has to leave. And as he leaves, people are coming in, and of course, someone thinks, hey, Spider-Man's coming out of that burning building. Did he start the fire? No, but of course, that's just how it works. So, the aliens get back to the spaceship, and they press a button, and literally causes all the tech and the radios they fixed to self-destruct like a big eraser button, making it look like no one ever came by. And they state, they know we're here and we can never come back. Random group of aliens know they're here without ever know. Earth knows that a random group of aliens were here and that the random group of aliens did not tell them. Only one person ever told him, ever figured it out. And, but that's enough to, they will now be on guard and we can never come back and yada yada. That doesn't work like that at all. Hell, the comic even ends with Pig, the professor saying, telling Pig he saw the alien spaceship fly away, but no one's going to believe that. And then we end on a close-up of the old man's face was really a mask, and who's the old man? And go, yeah, that's... This story is weird. Okay, time to rate. Let's see, the Vulture story, like I said, it's honestly kind of dime a dozen for the time, maybe even. But it worked, and it still kept my attention, so totally good. I'm surprised it actually kept my attention for a 60s story. I'm not really a fan of the older stories just because their wording, it just goes, it's so hokey and over the top, I just flies over my head and I can't get into it. However, but this kept my attention, so good. Both stories actually did. And boy, oh boy, did that second story keep my attention. Anyone who knows that modern day Spider-Man knows that Pig does not do alien invasion stories. He doesn't even do really ghost stories at all either. Spider-Man is honestly down to earth for the most part. Yeah, Venom is an alien symbiote, but Venom doesn't try to take over the world, honestly. He just wants chaos and to be seen as strong or whatnot. His Venom's sole progress is to just beat Spider-Man, and then Carnage, the other symbiote, Carnage just wants to create chaos. But yeah, they're all down to earth. neither care about being taking over the world. Spider-Man deals with crime bosses and mad scientists and secret plots. He does not deal with alien invasion. So this story is clearly early 60s of show not quite getting that it's footing on gold. Weird stuff happens and you just gotta roll with the punches. None of these stories ever hold up ever again. I don't even know if the Tinkerer ever makes an appearance ever again, but yeah, whoa. But that does not make it bad. This is pure 60s cheese, both these stories, and it just works. Totally read this. You'll have to find a trade paperback or cover like this book, because yeah, the early stuff with Spider-Man, you're not going to find this book out for cheap. Mark my words. But anyway, if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe if you want. I'm Tony the Video Geek, and I will see you next time.